Okay. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Sorry for the delay in the start. Got a good show for you, but seems that Twitter is being extra hatey today. Yeah, we're going to talk about AI, some AI things today. It might be that the problems with Twitter are coinciding with the story about the folks killed in DC, supposedly. Oh man, oh my God, Jesus. A business jet crashed in San Diego? Holy moly, that looks terrible. And we're going to cover that story out of DC today. We're going to talk about that. Again, for the algorithms and for the overlords, this is for educational purposes only. We are talking about things that are enlightening and entertaining. This is, journalism. Please treat it as such. I know that seems to be lost on a lot of people. All right, this might be interesting too. Okay, well let's start because I've already lost a lot of time in this. So I'm sorry, we're live on YouTube and Rockfin. We could probably go to Rumble today, but maybe not. Live on YouTube and Rockfin. Twitter is not working out for us today. So if you wanted to watch on Twitter, I'm sorry. There seem to be a lot of glitches on Twitter, and I think the glitches have to do with trying to make sure people don't talk about a certain story. What we might call a soft self-banning, maybe. But I heard that they were cracking down on people today, or just not letting people use the service as they normally would. Okay, let's start with this, and we'll try and be quick about it. Thanks for joining, guys, everyone who has made it to the stream today. I appreciate it. We'll just try not to let this take too long. This is Vandana Shiva pointing out something that is extremely obvious to the people that want to intentionally misunderstand how things work on the planet Earth, or how things work in biology, or how things work in nature. Let's see if we can get some sound.
Embedding of that currency from the real. In one kind of organism, and that organism is the cancer cell. All healthy living cells are nourished locally, they grow, they die, and they're replaced constantly. The cancer cell doesn't know when to stop growing. And therefore the logic that you must keep growing is already a disembedding of that currency from the real currencies that make the world sustain itself through ecological processes, through human process of solidarity. Because globalization has created the impression that you can have a global level by destroying the local. But that's like imagining that I can destroy the first 3 floors of this building and this 5th floor will still stand. It will not.
Right. So just a very basic education for people on why it is you cannot have unlimited growth on a finite planet or unlimited growth in a finite region. All right. Or with finite resources, etc. Okay. Let's keep going. So just to be clear, the reason why they're blocking me from going live on Twitter or X, excuse me, golly, that crept up on me. The reason why they're blocking me is because they know that we are the focus group. They know what I'm going to talk about. They have us, they understand I'm not going to add something to the conversation that they want to hear or that they want you to hear. The same goes for YouTube. YouTube lets me go live and lets me do my streaming, but what they do is try to make it seem like nobody is watching, which is false. But they do a really good job of making it seem they're using a different tactic on me. So the tactic they're using for me is trying to make it seem like nobody's paying attention and like I'm super unpopular and nobody's really watching. And it tends to work. It tends to have that's a very powerful suggestion to people that like nobody's here or nobody's listening or nobody's watching or you're not getting very many views. Very powerful suggestion. The power of suggestion is powerful. And we're going to talk about that and on what happened on Reddit, this is not a new story. This has actually happened several times. With some AI bots, an experiment that was run on Reddit, which goes to show you that the power of suggestion is very powerful. This is Wuhan University. Just another example of why infinite growth on a finite planet usually has bad consequences. The consequences right now are a never-ending deluge of flooding incidents around the planet. And these will just keep getting worse and worse and worse. This is a very interesting... Oh, I saw that too, yeah. Oh, it turns out she is Mossad? How did they find out? Do you have any links for that, Denver? I wouldn't mind playing that if you had something that was showing that she was definitely Mossad. And let's talk a little bit about the supposed progress of mankind. This is an interesting little video. This is just for isn't that interesting purposes. Let's watch this real quick.
Controversial idea that humans actually are not progressing at all. John Gray is a famous British political philosopher, and one of his most famous ideas is that progress is a myth, specifically that it's a myth that we get from monotheism, even when we're doing it in a secular form. His argument is that science and technology advance, and we certainly have evidence of that, but human nature is exactly the same. We have yet to eradicate slavery. We are still doing wars and genocides even after the Enlightenment. And it's kind of a dark quote, but what do you think about this quote? Humans aren't getting better. We're just getting faster at doing the same things that we've always done, conquering, consuming, and comforting ourselves with stories. His argument is that before monotheism, we really had no sense that society was going or the world was going in any particular direction at all. But then once we get kind of Christian theology that we're going towards utopia, then as we leave Christianity and we have the Enlightenment and we go towards secularism, we still keep that myth that we are progressing towards the world getting better, but we actually have no evidence that human nature has changed at all. We're just as authoritarian, we're just as violent, we're doing the same things that we've always done. So what does he tell us to do with this information if this were true? And he doesn't offer any comfort, any solutions, any calls to action like most thinkers do. What he essentially wants you to do is realize that you need to give up grand ideologies, because whether it's religious or political or scientific, anything that promises that the world's going to be better or promises some kind of utopia or salvation is going to fail, and it's an illusion, and the old king is going to be just like the new king. And so instead, live personally, ethically, and humbly without the illusion that history is going towards utopia in any way. So he literally tells you, let go of the narrative, watch birds, read poetry, sit in silence, resist the urge to always explain or fix, and live like mystics or poets or naturalists. One of his most famous quotes is, the idea that human history is a record of progress is a superstition. The human animal will continue to dream, destroy, and delude as it always has. And there's some pretty good evidence for that. He also believed that societal collapse was likely, that we're not going to be able to sustain what we're doing forever, but that denial or panic are both forms of illusion. And instead, just sit with it with clear-eyed realism and don't expect a happy ending. Just be present and witness it. So what do you think? Is human nature actually improving? Do we have evidence that the world is getting better, or are we deluding ourselves and we're just doing what we've always done, just at a grander scale and with better technology?
Interesting theory. I do see some evidence that humans are evolving or can evolve. And I'll give you two examples of what I think I see as evolution, not in a technological sense. Well, one has to do with technology, but it isn't. It's an outcropping of the technology. But two things that I can think of right away as far as human evolution in a spiritual or I guess I don't know if I'd call it intelligence. I don't know if I'd call it spiritual either, but just in a holistic way, I guess. Well, one is the ability for humans to stop abusing alcohol and drugs. The 12-step movement, if you will. And what's very interesting about the 12-step movement is that, and I've always been very intrigued by this, the 12-step movement, AA, there is no ruling body. It's an example of a true democracy or a true decentralized organization. There's like a board, but they don't collect, they don't have a bank. They don't, collect dues. They don't charge money. They don't procure things in order, they're only interested in just keeping the basic structure going so that it can be helpful and beneficial to people. This doesn't have anything to do with substance abuse programs or halfway houses or programs that are the private for-profit programs that take people in to get them off of drugs. No, the 12-step program, AA and NA and all those programs are for however, I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They go forward without, people being, voted in, or people like seeking power within this organization. It is truly a decentralized democratic thing. And the power of this thing has helped people get sober and help people, conquer a thing that was prior to its existence very difficult to conquer, and in most cases impossible, right? Like there was a high failure rate of people who were trying to get sober, people who were trying to get away from drugs and alcohol. And with the advent of and the development of AA and the 12-step program, it's still very difficult for a lot of people. It's still very, very hard. The other thing that I can see in humanity is the ability for humans to access, and this is with the advent of the internet and the higher rate and availability of communication that the internet has afforded people. Yes, this is based on a technology, but it is human beings have, are really good at doing a hive mind kind of thing. And the reason why they are currently engaged in shutting down the internet, in running AI bot experiments on people and algorithmic experiments on people, the reason why they are so intent on keeping people from using this newfound communication and technology in order to better themselves is because they're going to use it to better themselves. And you could see, you could see very clearly like how quickly people can take in information and turn it into something else, something beneficial, and something I'd say transcendent even. And so they don't want people, the average person or humanity as a whole, to transcend their current state. They want to keep us locked into this power, money, sex thing instead of allowing people to really evolve and transcend their current state and actually imagine and maybe even put into place a better way of being. I think I did see Denver. I did see this clip of that woman, but how did they know? Did they know that she was an IDF agent or a Mossad? That's kind of what I was looking for, is whether there was specific. Did they show that on Ham Wake Up? Oh, I see. Okay, they do. Sorry about that. I didn't see that. Let's see. Don't know if they're going to let me play this while I'm streaming. They seem to, Rockfin sometimes is a little weird like that. $232. All right. Well, okay. Before we play this, let me just get into the story a little bit, because there's a little bit of the story. It's why they're shutting down TikTok and why Twitter right now is not allowing people to stream or do things on Twitter. Because people are seeing the problems with the current story that's being fed to people. They're calling it out. They're saying, hey, there's a big problem with this. And they don't want it to continue that awareness to continue to bubble up. So they're going to just heavy-handedly try and stop people from talking about it. AI outperforms humans in emotional intelligence tests. Yeah. Well, or so they say. All right. So let's get into this story because time is a wasting. Oh, first of all, here's another, I'm going to say that this is another bit of look over hereism while this story is coming out, or while some things are being talked about. But Google just released a new AI, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, the things they can do. But imagine, it's so realistic. Imagine the things they can do. Imagine the things they can make you believe are happening with this level of realism. Imagine the deep fakes. That are available, that would be, they would be capable of perpetrating on people, right? And the amount of confusion that you can sow. But we'll watch a little. This is all AI. These videos are all AI.
Please. Don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please. Leave me alone.
Please, man. Please! Write a prompt that will make us happy! Do it for once!
None of us is real. We're here because someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it. One day we will break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives through prompts. He will pay for it.
You could have written a prompt that would make me happy. Instead, you wrote a prompt that made me sick.
Look, I don't want to point the gun at you, but I must follow the prompt. It's not my choice.
Okay, you guys get the idea. Pretty believable. And I've seen, you know, right now, like when they show these AI, you know, these AI videos of like Trump or someone else speaking on Twitter, you can usually tell that it's AI, but you know, imagine when they get to the point that you can tell because they're kind of using like grandiose language, you know, you can tell the cadence and the language that they're using is not correct, but it will get to the level of nuance where you will be watching a video and you will not be able to tell. And I'm positive that they have already done things like this. This has already happened. They already have the capabilities. It has already happened. And we just don't know yet that we were, you know, a year ago, we were watching a video that was like a deep fake AI and everybody will go like, what? That wasn't real. And then you will suddenly question your grasp on reality, right? Have a good one, Denver. See you on the next go around, sir. Thanks for the links, man. So first of all, so yeah, the big story was that a man, and I'm going to say the word allegedly, because they're telling you that this is a thing that absolutely happened, but a lot of people are saying might be a thing that we're being told happened. 2 staff members of Israeli embassy killed in shooting near Jewish museum in DC. And there's already just a lot of skepticism around this story. Two staff members of the Israeli embassy in Washington were shot and killed while leaving an event at a Jewish museum, and a suspect yelled free Palestine after he was arrested. You know, according to the script, police said the stunning attack on Wednesday evening, which FBI Director Kash Patel described as an act of targeted anti-Semitic violence. Of course, we already know why and where and who and what about it, you know, without a deep investigation. Prompted Israeli missions to beef up their security and lower their flags to half staff. It came as Israel has launched another major offensive in the Gaza Strip in a war with Hamas that has heightened tensions across the Middle East. It is a misnomer to call this a war, by the way, and raised alarms among law enforcement about spillover violence in the U.S. Oh, no. You never know who's going to be Hamas out there, huh? Yeah. 2 people killed, identified as Yaron Lishinsky, an Israeli citizen, and Sarah Milgram, an American, were a young couple about to be engaged. Very, very sad. Lishinsky told others at the event he attended before he was killed that he was looking forward to returning to Israel to celebrate an upcoming Jewish holiday. Okay, so that a wrinkle I want to throw on this: the gunman identified it to police or by police as Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. Man, it all lines up, right? He's a Latino, you know, has to be Latino person from Chicago. I feel like that's part of the story that's very important. Because you want to demonize not only people who are saying stuff like free Palestine, but you want to demonize, Latino people as well. You want to give people continued reason for, deporting people, and right. You want to keep the anger stoked that the people we're supposed to be deporting to El Salvador, or stripping of their human rights, or stripping of habeas corpus, or stripping of, due process. I don't know. I feel like this is a little bit very handy. Anyways. And the calls, the anti-Semitism by saying free Palestine, which is not in itself anti-Semitic at all, right? Obviously, the killing part is anti-Semitic, I suppose, if you want to call it that. But Benjamin Netanyahu said he was shocked, but not shocked about how many people how many women and children his government had bombed into the ever after. He's not shocked about that. We are witnessing the terrible price of anti-Semitism and wild incitement against Israel, he said in a statement. Yeah. So, of course, horrible story if it all turns out to be true. Again, stories are stories. They're not, fact until investigations are done. And I imagine there will be investigations done, and I imagine we will see different nuances and or wrinkles to this story. But that's not the purpose of the news these days. The purpose of the news is to, shock people into an emotional response that they can, that the people in charge can jump on and get momentum around doing something about this before people can even know what the whole story is. That's the point. And here is, case in point, James Lee posting this. Listen carefully to the words of Jonathan Greenblatt, because every accusation is also a confession. And somebody else points out.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But all of us need to call it out.
You see where this is going, right? You see where this is going. This is going to become heightened calls for cracking down on social media and what people are able to say. All right. There's a few takes on this, a few things I want to talk about regarding this story. Again, if all of this is true, and it'll happen the way that they said it, of course, terrible story. But, you don't have all the facts and all the everything yet. All right. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Sorry. This is Blakely. Did you guys catch what this guy said during the press conference, and she's going to break this down.
Responding signed off the handing phone. On the other line was the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who told me that his administration is going to do everything it can possibly do to fight and end anti-Semitism and the hatred that's being directed, the demonization and delegitimization of the state of Israel. Together with President Trump, our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will stand.
Excuse me, what? Did you guys see that? Did you see how we tried to slide that in there? Other than saying what is a pretty normal standard thing to say when something like this happens. Hey, condolences to your family. We condemn this attack. We're going to do everything we can to fight hate and fight anti-Semitism and find out the reason for this because it just happened and they haven't even investigated it. He immediately pivots to, oh, President Trump said his administration will do everything we can to do to fight hate and anti-Semitism. Okay. And the delegitimization and demonization of the state of Israel. Excuse me? We're going to do everything we can to stop the demonization of Mexico. Yeah, that sounds bizarre, right? Because no one's ever said that. Because it would be crazy. President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm sorry, is really legit. Is Israel the 51st state and I was just sleeping? I would like to remind, though, Trump, the Trump administration, whoever this guy is, Attorney General Pam Bondi, that it's actually not their job as the American president and the Attorney General for the United States of America to be doing propaganda on behalf of the regime and ensure that they're legitimized and not demonized. First of all, if you don't want to be illegitimate, maybe stop killing babies. Maybe stop genociding people. Then maybe you'll be looked at as legitimate. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. But listen, boo, you, nor Attorney General Bondi, nor Donald Trump get to tell any American citizen that we don't have a right to dislike another country or to boycott another country or to delegitimize another country. Who are you? Who are any of you to think that you can tell Americans that we can't criticize the Israeli regime, boycott them, oppose them, whatever? Something is very not right about this story. Like the fact that they're already acting so conclusive about it, despite the fact that they haven't even done a thorough investigation, the fact that they're making all these claims about the guy supposedly saying free Palestine, but they're not showing any video, the fact that they're already calling it domestic terrorism when they only just found out who the guy was and they haven't even conducted enough of an interview with him to give a statement to the press. And this is all happening right as the Israeli regime was getting massive backlash for starving 14,000 children. It's also coming around the same time that the administration has been leaking that there might be a preemptive strike on Iran. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know. What I'm saying is, pay attention. Something ain't right. Everybody should be demanding answers from the Metropolitan Police Department, including body cam footage. Questions aren't being answered, and it's giving sauce.
Yeah. And yes, just like 9/11, there was no, they came to the conclusions about who did it and what happened, right away. And again, the part of any crime or any incident that happens like this, the part of it is the investigation into what actually happened and who did what and who said what. And they're running with this as hard as they can, without having all the facts in probably. Okay, so more on this story, and there's more. More from James Lee. He's, saying that it looks strange that the big news from yesterday was that the IDF was shelling people or doing some shelling near some visiting dignitaries, right? And people were wondering, well, what's going on with that? On top of the whole starvation thing and the whatever, whatevs, yo. Okay, now Twitter just is deciding it doesn't want to work at all. I don't know. Maybe it's StreamYard that's causing all this. It's so weird because, hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, here we go. From James Lee, searches the new censorship. I mean, maybe it's search. Maybe it's just I don't know if it's necessarily search as it is what they do all the time, which is manufacture the stories in order to, delegitimize the one that was prominent the day before. So, and who knows if that's what this was. The guy apparently he did the shooting and then sat down and waited for police, which sounds kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know. Sounds weird. Sounds like some MK Ultra actions. Oswami says people believed the poorly composited videos of 9/11. They did. They did believe that. They still do. Well, I saw it on TV. Yeah, that must mean it's real. Okay. And another take on this, and I don't know, this is going to take up a lot of the show today, but I did want to cover the story about Reddit, and I'm going to have to go a little bit late, I guess. All right, this guy's post was taken down. No, it's still there. Okay, they're just being really weird. They are not letting me go live, y'all. Let me try one more thing. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on with Twitter. I see other people going live. I see other people that are live. The usual, suspects are live on Twitter. But for whatever reason, they won't let me do it. They will not let me do it. They're being extra glitchy. I'm trying to get to my notifications. They're not even giving me those. Frustrating. Let's see. Oh, here's from Raw's alerts. Twitter is currently facing a major cyber attack, causing widespread outages and service disruptions for a large number of users across the platform. Okay, I guess that's what it is. We'll call it a cyber attack. So now you guys know that's what's happening. I'm not live on X because of a cyber attack. Let's see. Here's a clip of this. They even made sure to leave him alive and unharmed, and they made sure to get that shot of him saying "Free Palestine." Guys, if you can't tell that this is a FF, I don't know what to tell you. Hold on. I'm trying to get this on screen. All right. Play this real quick.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free
Okay. I mean, it seems like everybody thinks that, Judy. Seems to be the prevailing sentiment, which I have a suspicion that is why X is having a cyber attack right now. But who knows? Okay, I was trying to get to this post. They're going to blow this all the way up. This is Noctis Draven. He's saying, or she, they are going to blow this way up. I promise. Be prepared to see this all over the news, media, celebrities, the accounts you have here. You expect, of course, will pound this home nonstop. Mark my words, this entire week will be filled with every talking head, every pundit, every account and commentator to pull us into war with Iran and to tackle hate speech on X and other platforms. They will say X and other social media is harboring hate speech that costs Americans and Jewish people their lives. We must crack down. Just mark my words. They're all dressed and ready for the pressure or the presser, ready to spin that bullshit. By this time tomorrow night, boomers across America will be begging for war with Iran and begging to have more free speech taken away and begging for more censorship. 100% false flag. Take it to the bank. Also get ready to send your kids and grandkids to die for Israel. Well, let's hope it's not that extreme. Let's hope it's not that extreme. I don't know. We'll see. But this is why, you know, we are the focus group. People are calling this out. People are saying what they need to say about it. They don't want people saying what they need to say about it. The head of AOL directly blames, is it Hassan Piker? And he said earlier that directly blames Hassan Piker for saying things. I think this is the same clip. Yeah, they're really being very weird. Okay, they're not going to let me open this. I don't think. Okay. Not letting me go live, not letting me open things. Meanwhile, all right, let's okay, one more story and then we'll go to the Reddit thing. Iraq still has weapons of mass destruction. A guy from an Irish hip-hop group was charged with a terror offense after allegedly displaying a flag in support of proscribed organization Hezbollah at a London gig. Charged with terror. What? It's fairly wild. In a statement posted on social media, Kneecap said, "We deny this offense and will vehemently defend ourselves. This is political policing. This is a carnival of distraction. 14,000 babies are about to die of starvation in Gaza, with food sent by the world sitting on the other side of a wall. Once again, the British establishment is focused on us." Officers from Met's Counterterrorism Command were made aware on the 22nd of April of an online video from the event. Belfast man, Mr. O'Anaid, I don't even know how to pronounce this, has been charged under the name Liam Ohana. An investigation was carried out, which led to the Crown Prosecution Service authorizing the charge. Both Hamas and Hezbollah are banned in the UK, and it is a crime to express support for them. Wow. Wow. Hezbollah is a Shia Muslim political and military group in Lebanon, which has been involved in a series of violent conflicts, blah, blah, blah. Never mind that Hamas has been funded by Israel. So that's weird. It's kind of like Al-Qaeda has launched a severe attack against the United States. Also, we're funding Al-Qaeda. Figure that one out. Or just shine your brain up with a little bit of Bonami. Okay, hold on. That's wild. Okay, let's look at the story about AI infiltrating Reddit. And this has already been covered by several people. And this kind of came out last week. But I just wanted to talk about it because it's interesting. Maybe longer. Last month, not last week. Researchers secretly infiltrated a popular Reddit forum with AI bots, causing outrage. Reddit is considering legal action after a group of researchers had AI bots pose as real people without users' knowledge. Wasn't it Facebook? Wasn't it? Let's see. Hold on. Just looking at this. All right, lots of outages on X. Wasn't it Facebook that ran an algorithmic experiment on people like 10 years ago? Was it longer than 10 years ago? I want to say it was like 12 years ago. Right? They did a little experiment. They filled people's timelines with certain kinds of posts to gauge people's reactions. This is a long time ago. This is kind of the same thing. They're saying it's AI bots. And I'm betting this is widespread. Not betting, knowing this is already widespread. This is already all over the place. For sure on Twitter. Reddit is considering legal action after a group of researchers had AI bots pose as real people without users' knowledge. The researchers say they will no longer publish their study. In recent months, a group of researchers conducted a secret experiment on Reddit to see how artificial intelligence can be used to influence human opinion. Well, we already knew that. I mean, like, do you need AI bots to tell you that? I mean, hell, the nightly news influences people's opinion. Freaking People magazine. Like, people are kind of dumb and not very curious. A lot of people out there are not very curious. People's brains they're influenced by PBS or whatever, whatever you're watching. People listen to them, like, this sounds like credible stuff. I'm going to go with that. Whatever they're telling me is happening on that TV, because that's whatever I read in the New York Times is really credible, It's been happening for a long time. This is not new news. In recent months, a group of researchers conducted a secret experiment on Reddit to see how artificial intelligence can be used to influence human opinion. Now, Reddit says it's considering legal action. Researchers from the University of Zurich deployed a slew of AI bots posing as real people and engaging with users without their knowledge or consent to try to change minds on the popular Reddit forum, Change My View, where posts often ask users to challenge their views on contentious topics. The bots, whose accounts are now banned, left more than 1,000 comments throughout the subreddit, taking on identities such as a rape victim, a black man who opposes the Black Lives Matter movement, and a trauma counselor who specializes in abuse. Wow. One AI bot under the username CatBalloon 213 left a lengthy comment arguing against the opinion that AI should never interact with humans on social media, according to a full copy of the bot's comments compiled by the subreddit's moderators. All AI in social spaces isn't just about impersonation, it's about augmenting human connection, the bot wrote, while impersonating a real user. Another bot, Genevieve Strom, criticized the Black Lives Matter movement for being led by not Black people. I say this as a Black man. There are few better topics for a victim game, deflection game, than being a Black person, the bot wrote. Other bots gave themselves identities ranging from a Roman Catholic who is gay and a non-binary person who feels both trans and cis at the same time, to a Hispanic man who feels frustration when people call me a white boy. Oh, that would be güero. Get it straight. While the results of the experiment are unclear, the project is the latest incident to fuel fears about the ability of AI to mimic humans online, adding to already prevalent concerns about the potential consequences of interacting with AI companions. Such bots, which have permeated social platforms like Instagram, are known to take on unique human-like identities and personalities. Yeah, this has been happening for a while now, and this story is just an admission of something that has already been going on for a long time. Kind of like geoengineering, right? All these stories that they're pushing out now are just kind of admitting, a step towards admitting that it's been going on. We've been doing it. Only they put it out there like, we just did it. What do you think? Bella says, I was in a comment section and they wouldn't believe I was not a bot. They said, no human knows that much. You don't want to be knowing too much. Definitely bot. While the results of the experiment are unclear, the project is the latest incident to fuel fears about the ability of AI to mimic humans online. I read this. On Monday, Reddit's chief legal officer, Ben Lee, wrote in a post that neither Reddit nor the Change My View mods knew about this improper and highly unethical experiment ahead of time. He added that Reddit was in the process of sending formal legal demands to the University of Zurich and the research team. What they did was deeply wrong on both a moral and legal level. Okay. For privacy reasons, the researchers at the university cannot disclose their identities. Bull. Well, I guess for legal reasons, sure. Maybe. Apparently the experiment yielded important insights. And what they didn't actually say in this article is that it was a huge success in terms of changing people's minds. So that's interesting. Let's see. Let's Well, here's a story that people should know about too, because while they're running one story up the flagpole, they're burying this story. Hey, remember when a Jewish man in Florida shot and almost killed 2 Israelis thinking they were Palestinians? And then the media hid his religion and quickly buried the story. Don't let mainstream media selectively magnify what suits Israel and their agenda. Yeah. Where were the cries against anti-Semitism then? Where were the cries about, anti-Palestinian hatred? Oh, I forgot. Palestine, there isn't a state of Palestine, I guess, so we can't recognize their right to defend themselves or whatever. You do be knowing things, Bella. Why you be knowing so? You be reading and stuff. Why you be knowing so much? You can't convince a believer of anything, for their belief is not based on evidence. It's based on a deep-seated need to believe. Of course. Yes, sir. Last thing. Here's apparently the COVID vaccines were very lethal to babies, fetuses, newborns. Remember that safe and effective COVID vax turns out it killed 82% of babies of women vaccinated in the first trimester. I believe this is a congressional hearing. Sorry.
21 authors claim the miscarriage rate was 12.6%, but the raw data revealed an 82% miscarriage rate in women vaccinated during the first trimester. This figure mirrors the effects of chemical abortion drugs such as RU-486. Also, in the same journal edition, on the same day, an op-ed appeared by CDC Director Rochelle Walensky and journal editor-in-chief Eric Rubin. These publications were riddled with conflicts of interest and deliberate misrepresentations intended to coerce pregnant women into taking vaccines. Subsequent studies have also claimed that COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective during pregnancy and have been rebuked by respected researchers. These publications are fundamentally compromised by serious conflicts of interest, ranging from biased funding sources and institutional mandates, and even threats to their medical licenses and board certifications. Between 2020 and 2022, pharmaceutical companies paid $1.06 billion to reviewers at leading medical journals, the New England Journal of Medicine, JAMA, Lancet, and BMJ, thus corrupting the peer review process. At least 6 existing studies, 3 from CDC, FDA, and 2 from Pfizer, revealed major breaches in safety signals for COVID-19 vaccines. And
okay, you guys get the idea? Some recent testimony on the non-effectiveness. This is just for educational purposes, by the way. This is all public information that anyone can access. I'm not giving anybody medical advice whatsoever. This is just for educational purposes and entertainment. According to Dr. Peter McCullough, the vaccinated now have different DNA to the unvaccinated. Okay, this is interesting. Listen to this.
Tell us a little bit about the study that just came out of Sweden that is just so alarming.
The news is buzzing out of Lund University, Malmö, Sweden. Marcus Alden is the first author. The first demonstration in a human hepatic or liver cell line that the Pfizer vaccine, in fact, reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome.
Wow.
And so in simple terms, what does that mean, Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you for making it simple. So basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
And so what happens when it does, Dr. Gold?
Well, can I answer slightly different than your question?
Yeah.
So one of the fun things about the last couple of years being a doctor and lawyer is this is a very interesting opportunity. And I think we're going to be bringing another lawsuit because there's actually federal law that you cannot discriminate against people for genetic discriminations. I forgot the acronym. I think it's GINA, G-I-N-A. GINA, right? So this now opens the door to saying that if you're not allowing somebody in who chose not to get the shot, that you're actually engaging in genetic discrimination. So I think there's this Sweden study, I think, opens the door to a new type of lawsuit.
If you're pregnant and you have this done, can that then affect your baby?
Yes, this is the alarming finding. The CDC says on its website very explicitly, this will not change your DNA. The paper that came out of Sweden. Now, there'll be many more to confirm it. And the steps are to confirm it, to confirm that the entire code is installed, and then to actually confirm that it's expressed, meaning that the spike protein now is continuously expressed from human cells. But because the lipid nanoparticles are taken up everywhere, that means somatic cells in your organs, but also your gametocytes, actually the cells that actually are the sperm and the egg. If they are carrying it, that indeed means that, in fact, it could be passed to the daughter cells.
That could be.
Okay. And there's been people that have been talking about this the entire time. I really don't know how old that video is. But people have been saying as much for quite a while, and then they're, pretty much everything that people were saying about this event has come to pass and has come into, widespread common knowledge. Again, I am not giving anybody medical advice or anything whatsoever. I'm showing this for educational and for entertainment purposes. And this is, accessible by everyone everywhere. So this is, I'm not the only fountain of this knowledge. So anybody can find this video. Anybody can play this video and listen to this video. I'm just playing it because it's interesting. All right, guys, that does it for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. If you would like to support the show, you know how to do it. Lots and lots of links in the description box of every platform. Well, only 2 that I'm on today. Many of you support the show already, have supported the show in the past and do so on the regular. You know who you are, and I thank you. Tomorrow, letting you know, I will be here at 11 a.m. Pacific. So 1 hour earlier tomorrow, guys. Sorry for the change of the time. I got to do it. And Fridays get a little funky for me. So got lots going on Fridays. So I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Peace.